So, all right, welcome everybody to the Fireside Chat. All right, first timers, one more time. Give me first time. Anybody, two, three, four. All right, well, welcome, ladies. All right, today we're actually going to go with a little bit of a different topic. So far, we've been talking about a lot of lead pillars, right? And we can get some of the replays to you guys, maybe get you kind of an idea of what they are. The lead pillars are lead pillars, right? Like that's not a major secret, right? We don't have a secret lead pillar, right? But how we go about prosecuting them, how we go about executing them, that's where the magic is. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a step back and we're going to talk about the agent. We're going to talk about the person. We're going to talk about you, right? Because how many of you have gone to work and you get to the office, whether that's at your house or an office, and you have had a phenomenal morning. Like everything's going well, you're hitting it on all cylinders. You pick up the phone, all of a sudden you start crushing it. Have you guys experienced that? Only Sandy. There's more people. All right. So, how many of you have shown up to the office and you're pissed off and you're like, I want to throw my damn phone instead of use it to call something? Might want to throw it at somebody specifically. And you have a
Mhm.
just awful day at the office. How many of you have had that?
More than the other one.
Yeah. Right. Now, how many of you have had that go on for a week or two?
Mm.
Right? You don't have to admit it. I'll be the only one brave enough.
I
Right?
think we're all, yeah, I think we're all like,
4 or 5 bad days. Oh, good one. We're okay. Yeah, back to right. Just kind of an up and down, right? What we're going to talk about is the the human performance side of this, right? How do we make sure that you have more days that are either neutral or good versus on the downside of neutral to not good, right? And so there are 5 parts to this. That's how I look at this. And there are 5 F words. None of them is the bad F word. None of them are 4 letters, if that makes you all feel better. All right, so I'm going to give them to you real quick, and then we're going to dig into them. All right, faith, family, fitness, finance, and fellowship.
mm,
Faith,
mhm.
family, finance, fitness, and fellowship. So let's just start going through them. Faith can be whatever that means to you. That could be going to church. That could be looking at rocks. I don't know. Whatever everybody else does. I do not mean to be making light of that. But whatever faith is, spirituality, right? So how are we getting spiritually filled, right? Because people who have an empty spiritual gas tank tend to wander around looking for the next shiny thing. People who are spiritually filled tend to be a lot more grounded, right? I'm not going to belabor this point because we start going into some weird conversation potentially. So whether that is religion, whether that's spirituality, whether that is exercise, because people can make that a religion, people can make that an idol, right? Whatever that is that grounds you, whatever that is that gives you a moment or more than a short moment of peace, right? You feel connected, whatever that is. That's a very important thing because without it, we tend to just kind of bounce around like a ping pong ball, right? So I'm
With
gonna
that in mind, just a second. I just not to, you
yeah.
know, one of the most peaceful places I've ever found is just taking walks outdoors.
Mhm.
Like when you go on a hike, it's such a beautiful experience and it always resets me. And if you haven't been on a hike in a while, which I feel like I haven't, I feel like I need to go on a hike today. Such a wonderful reset. Just getting outdoors, getting around things. And I think, of course we could dive into religion and church as well, but just being outdoors is such a great spiritual reset. And so if you're not doing that, I definitely would say be outside. It's such a huge reset.
It
hmm
is. It is. It's not only on the mental side, there's also a lot of physiological benefits too, like having actual sunlight hit your eyeballs, not through a car or through sunglasses. Right? There's
Yeah.
a lot of benefit getting vitamin D from having the sun hit your skin. Getting into a tougher time of year for that, right? But
hmm
I don't think I'd go outside if I lived in New York in a few months.
I think you can. Yeah, just kind of piggybacking on that because I listen to a lot. If you're not listening, one of the podcasts I love is The Diary of a CEO.
Mhm.
Very, very, very good. He has the most fabulous speakers on there, everywhere from like Jay Shetty, like just massive people in all different industries, but a lot of them are about mindset, health, wellness.
It's a nice variety. AI, there's like all kinds of things, and these podcasts are usually like 2.5 hours. That's what I walk to in the morning. So I'm walking, I'm outside, I'm educating, I'm listening, I'm filling my brain with like good things for me to help improve myself. But that fresh air and that first light, and that vitamin D that like there's something I know, like Ryan was saying, I know the days that I don't do that, like I don't show up and perform as well. Like I just from a very like when I do it, I know what I feel like and when I don't. And it also it gets you ready for the day. Like I always find like I drink more water on those days. I'm a little more conscious of what I eat that day. I tend to like actually like I put myself together every day, but sometimes I'm like a little more excited to put myself together every day and and I should show up different when I start my day like that. So I think it has a lot of great benefits.
Absolutely. So, um, whether it be prayer, whether it be meditation, whether it be getting
Hmm.
outside, there's a lot of people that absolutely get grounded going on a hike, right? It doesn't need to be some crazy hike up a mountain, right? It could just be actually going for a walk on the sidewalk, right? And just getting away from things, clearing your mind. No AirPods in your ears. Just get out there. Um, Now, let me take a step back real quick.
Hmm.
The reason we're covering this, right? The 0 to 100 challenge that Sandy's going to tell us about at the end, right, is a full program, right? That there's the 10 lead pillars. There's how to be an absolute killer with listings, right? Like that's the three of us can show you the receipts for that, all right? But the other parts of you have to be in alignment. And Sandy, if you would please hop in whenever you feel called to share, because Sandy's the one who went from 0 to 100 in 10 months, 103 signed listings in 10 months. So Sandy has the exact recipe that has hit 100. Danny and I haven't hit 100 in a year, right? Sandy has, right? So we're going to get into what are the other parts
Hmm.
of you that need to be in alignment, need to be healthy, need to be strong in order to put yourself into whether you hit 100 or not, whether you hit 75 or 50 or 25, right? I'm more concerned about do you go from 5 deals to 15 deals? Do you go from 15 deals to 30 deals? Do you go from 30 to 60? Right? Do you go from 5 deals to 20 deals? Right? I want to see the 2, 3, 4, 5x
Hmm.
because that is going to be a generational shift with finance for you guys. Right? So that's why we're going into this, just so you guys don't think you got on
Hmm.
the wrong webinar. All right. The next one
Hmm.
is family. All
Hmm.
right. So family can be anything from parents, brothers, sisters. It could be extended families, aunts, uncles, could be grandparents. It could be a spouse, a husband or a wife. It could be your kids. It could be grandkids, whatever that is. It could just be yourself.
Hmm.
In
Hmm.
my life, out of these 5 F's, faith, family, finance, fitness, and fellowship, the one that is the most important to me is family. And that is because it ties into my why. Why am I doing this? Why am I on here with you guys at 11:14 Pacific time instead of making phone calls or chasing my wife around or whatever it is, right? Like, why am I doing this, right? And it's because ultimately it comes back to my family. And I also can look at my family and see how that radiates out to faith or faith radiates into that. I can see how finances can impact a family. I can see how fitness can impact a family. I can see how fellowship can impact a family. So everything is a family. If my family's jacked up, my finances might not be so hot. If my family is jacked up, my fitness might be messed up, right? So with family, this really comes back to your why, right? And that's a whole nother topic, whole nother topic. But
Hmm.
why are you on here at 11:15 Pacific time? I'm 100% certain that all of you could think of at least one thing you'd rather be doing if you weren't going to get value out of this, you'd rather be doing it. Is that fair? Yeah.
Oh, I want to know what they would rather be doing.
Okay. Go
What would they
ahead,
rather be
Sandy. You
doing?
badly off.
I was like, I don't know what I'd rather be outside. It's a beautiful day today.
Yeah,
It's hot. I'm in my office is like a separate room and it's hot. I have like fans, just the airflow is not the same. So anytime I get a chance to just like step outside, but I don't know. I'd rather be doing
I would rather
nature
be
kids.
driving over to my daughter's school, picking them up and taking them out for lunch.
Hmm. Hmm.
But if I'm not here, if I'm not working, if I'm not paying for all that, we're not going to lunch.
Hmm.
Anybody want to share? We don't have to.
Y'all made a good commitment to show up to this. It's
Mhm.
hard in our world right now. We're bombarded with videos and webinars and a million
Mhm.
different things, but to make the commitment to show up is incredible. And yeah, I just
Yeah.
I'd rather be taking a mid-afternoon nap to
Ooh.
recharge.
Ooh.
nap. I don't
You
know
are
that word.
definitely
Juan, I do not know
yes.
that word. That is not in my vocabulary, a nap.
Nap on
I,
the
I,
beach.
I
Nap
work.
on the beach in
I,
Costa Rica. That's where I want to be.
Oh,
I love it, Juan.
I slept till I didn't go to bed till almost 1 o'clock working on something. So it's like, okay, I'm tired, but at the same
yeah.
time, gotta
Which
get it done.
which is funny. Like I love where Ryan's going with this because everything bleeds into each other, and that's kind of what we're talking about is like this full human being package, that we have is that when you're at lack of sleep, like just like why he'd rather be taking a nap. He was up late, so he didn't sleep well. Obviously, I'm sure his performance, he's been kind of dragging this morning and he's not so motivated. Maybe even when he's making his calls, it's just not there and clients are feeling it. So maybe even the prospecting isn't feeling as productive because he's not on it, right? It's like this crazy effect. And I, when I was doing this challenge, like it was a little mind opening when I started to really, and I've talked about on this call and others, like how you have to be so intentional with your time that you're actually spending, those non-refundable minutes. And I would find that like I was just letting those minutes go because I maybe I don't ever argue with my husband necessarily, but sometimes we disagree, and we carry that. Like we carry that to the office. We carry that into our attitudes for the rest of the day. It's very hard to like compartmentalize as much as we can, turning it on and turning it off. But it does have a huge effect, even how we think through the day.
Very true. All right,
Mhm.
so with family, right? Like that's the why, right? Here's some other things for you. And I've learned these lessons the hard way. Not being present doesn't
Mhm.
help your family, right? Being in the room but being on my phone.
Mm.
How about eating dinner and the phone rings and I go, hold on, I got to take this call, and I walk away from dinner with my wife and three little girls once or twice or three times in the middle of family dinner. What about missing events? I can't go to the pumpkin patch because I have an open house, right? Now we're getting into a gray area. Let's take that example back because I need to work, right? Sometimes
Mhm.
you have commitments that you have to go do, right?
Mhm.
But where does your family fit
Mhm.
with the priority list?
Mhm.
And I would submit to you that it's a seasonal thing. It's a very seasonal thing. And that comes back to communication, right? So I know in San Diego, which is where I'm at, February through July is really the busiest part of the year for us. I would argue it's in January, but I am special. So take that for what you want. But without a doubt, February through July, we don't want to be making a lot of travel plans because that is the heart of the season. We get into August, traditionally, not a whole hell of a lot's happening, right? There might be some closings, right, that were coming from July, but there's not a lot of new people that are super hot to trot in August because school's starting again. Families are like, we need to take a breath. September, October, maybe a little bit. November and December, we're sliding into the end of the year, right? So I learned the hard way. It would be good to communicate that with my wife so she knows, like, hey, in the month of August, like, let's take a vacation. In November and December, if you want to schedule all kinds of stuff, like, let's do that. But let's please not schedule a big giant vacation in May, which she does every year. It's amazing. right? And I have to go because it's an amazing vacation, right? One strategy is have your significant other schedule a vacation once a month. You're not going to go on them all, but you're going to make even more money because you schedule a vacation. What happens?
Yeah,
Business,
business.
buyers, sellers. I need you to listen to this week, all the stuff every time, right?
Yeah.
So, family, where is the priority? The one thing that I do know, to which I straight up would have stood here and argued with you at the beginning of my career 10 years ago, like, no, I have to answer that call. My client's calling.
Mm.
You're eating dinner. They might understand that. Nope. Nope. They will never understand that. They understand that. They absolutely do. Right. So if you're having a problem with that, please learn from me, the totally dumb guy who argued for the first probably 4 or 5 years of like, no, they need to be spoken with now because that's called customer service. Right? They actually will respect you more if you send them a quick text. And the nice thing about Apple iPhones, hopefully all of you have those, is you can create automatic text replies where you hit the little button, you just select one. Right? Create one if that's an issue for you, which it's thankfully not for me anymore. But if it's a big enough issue where you have a whole bunch of stuff, so be like, hey, eating dinner with my family, call you back as soon as I'm done. Boop, automatic. People are like, Roger, no problem. I've never one time, even some of the people
Mm-mm.
that I've worked with that I were not super nice humans, no one was like, that's bullshit. Call me right now. Right?
Yeah,
Not a single person's ever done that.
yeah, creating those boundaries,
Hmm.
protecting your boundaries, right? That's super huge. And those of you who have joined the challenge, you're going to find that yes, you are going to be working harder. Like you are going to have more on your plate. So even more important, to protect those boundary times with your why people, and making them non-negotiable times that you're interrupted, and that will be priceless because the last thing we want through all of this is burnout, frustration, just giving up on yourself, like, because it can get really heavy when there's a lot of business. A lot of you right now, maybe you're dealing with one, three, five escrows at one time.
Hmm.
When you start really leaning in, I was handling at least 10 in escrow at a time. Like we all know with one or two, there's like, I need the survey and I need like you feel like you're just scrambling, so having those areas where you're like, no, I have boundaries. I mean, I didn't like not answer my phone after 5 o'clock. Obviously, I know where my clients are, but I think after eight probably doesn't, I probably don't need to be on with clients after 8 o'clock at night. Like that, I have to protect my space, right? Like Juan went to bed really late last night. Like you have to be able to say, okay, I'm going to turn down, I'm going to tone down, I'm going to darken down, I'm going to put myself in a good, kind of that decompression, clear my brain, get my tasks lift off my head, like just dump it all out before you go to bed so you have a good quality sleep. I've also learned, I used to do that run and jump, but they actually like I'll have clients like, "Hey, I know you're busy. When you have a minute, if you could just give me a call back." Like it's a lot of times how my messages are with my clients. Like, "Hey, not a rush. When you have a minute, and they understand that we have boundaries. So that's really important for you and it's going to be important for you moving forward.
All right. Let's keep moving. Finance. How many of you are in your first year in the business? Anybody? No. Second year. Third year.
I'm in my first year. You can't
Third
see me
year.
because I'm driving, but I'm
Okay.
first year.
Okay. All right. So how many of you remember back to your first year in real estate? We were like, holy cow, I'm working a lot and not getting paid. So Tia, we're going to fix that for you with these 10 pillars. Right? That's a great reason to be here. Right? But how well do people do with financial stress?
Terrible. I don't think anyone handles financial stress well. That's like an oxymoron. I don't know how you can
Mm-hmm.
even do any of that if it's stressful.
Yeah. So how does that impact family?
Hmm.
One of the number one reasons for divorce is financial stress,
Hmm.
right? How does financial stress impact faith? It rocks faith. Not like I'm rocking you to sleep, but like shaking, right? So if you don't know what to do to make money at this point, Sandy will put the link up at the end and you sign up and we'll take care of you. But everybody else that's been here for a couple of years, you figured this out or you wouldn't be here, right? Like you'd be out of the business, right? So we all know how to make money. We all know in general, what do I need to do? What are the tasks that I need to do to generate money? We all know that, right? But then there also can be, and this is how they start being tied together. Do you work for money or does money work for you? Are you the owner of money or is money the owner of you?
Mm.
Because you can't serve two masters at one time. Let that sit for a second. So if money owns you, you're going to be that idiot with the beard that's talking, not the one who has his camera turned off. And Danny's not an idiot, I'm the idiot, right? Who has to take a phone call in the middle of dinner because money owns me. Money was more important than my family was, right? Don't be that guy. Don't be that gal, right? Don't be that gal. So finance, having a plan, having a budget. How many of you like doing a budget? There's got to be people on here who do. There's some people that like this stuff. It's not me. Not Amanda, props to you. Not me. I am not the budget guy.
You want my box of receipts? You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome.
No,
You're
you
more
have
than
everything in boxes.
welcome.
No. So
I will say
go ahead, Tara.
I will say Ryan that one of the best piece of advice that I've got regarding financing is if you spend your money on paper on purpose at the beginning of the month, then you stop having these stress responses throughout the entire rest of the month because you're concerned about like what's going to show up in the mail. This is about getting ahead of all of that stress so that you know that everything has been taken care of at the beginning of the month. If there's a surprise, that's one thing, but it's not going to be that's not a consistent issue, and that
Mhm.
relieved my stress like tenfold.
Yeah, I love it. So here's the thing. How many of you have heard the saying, money is the root of all evil? Everyone's heard that, right? How many of you think that's in the Bible?
It's not.
Not, right? The whole part of does money own you or do you own money? Who do you serve? Right? That's in the Bible, right?
Mhm.
And so my goal is to make a lot of money. A lot of money. A lot of money. Like the amount of money that I don't want to tell people how much I make.
Me too.
Right?
Everybody?
Hopefully that's everyone's goal, right? How many of you feel a little guilty about that? I used to feel guilty about that, right? Here's why I don't. Simple saying. I would love nothing more than in my life to be blessed in order to be a blessing, right? If I can make $500,000 in a year, how many people can I impact with that? Right? My lifestyle, fortunately and unfortunately, does not require $500,000 a year. Be a good problem to have, but that's not a problem for me. Right? So I can live a lifestyle that makes me and my family extremely happy, setting myself up for retirement, setting my kids up, and
Mhm.
still have money to bless other people and other things. Right? So I'm going to leave that there with finance. Okay. Fitness. Fitness. How many of you have worked out today? Shamefully, I'm not raising my hand. My day off.
And Juan worked out. He went to bed late and worked out.
Let's go.
Okay,
All right.
fair.
So I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about fitness.
Mm-hmm.
Not fitness donut into my mouth, but like working out. Right. So here's a question for you. Is your body a weapon or is it a liability?
Mm.
I'm gonna guess Juan's is a lot closer to a weapon than a liability. Because if Juan was up until 1 o'clock in the morning working, right, mentally pouring into something, right, there is mental fatigue that goes along with physical fatigue. What time did you get up this morning?
I got up at 5:30 and then did 50 minutes of cardio,
Mhm.
then got home and took my dog on another 45-minute walk to our woods.
My man. Right, so Juan's body is a weapon. If Juan's body was a liability, would Juan have gotten out of bed at 5:45 in the morning? No, he'd rolled out around 7, 8, 9 o'clock, late to the office, calendars out of whack. Oh my gosh, I missed the first two things, right? It just spirals out of control, right? How many times have people had that lead to a bad day? Your schedule gets off and it's just
Oh, of
disaster.
course.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's the bane of my existence.
They're celebrating. Don't celebrate that. She's like, yes.
Yeah. So here's my challenge for you with fitness. Fitness,
Mm.
here's something that I learned a few years ago, and I feel embarrassed to share this, but I'm going to. How many of you think walking is exercise? I went for a walk. Walking doesn't count. You walked, right? How wrong is that? That is so wrong. That's just dumb.
So wrong.
Right? Like I said, I'm embarrassed to admit, like I was a guy like walking doesn't count. What are you talking about? Right? Walking absolutely counts. It gets you out. All the stuff gets you outside, gets you in nature, gets you moving, gets your heart rate up, gets your mind off of garbage, gets fresh air in your nose. It's good stuff, right? Now, there's all kinds of other exercise, right? We can do weightlifting, we can run. I don't know why you'd want to run, but you could. My wife will explain that one to me at some point. She's got a problem with that. Um, we could lift weights, we could do jujitsu, we could take a cycling class, we could play basketball, we could play racquetball, all the different things. All that is moving your body, right? Doesn't matter which one you're doing, just please do something.
Do you know what helped me? Massive. I have a stand-up desk.
Mm,
When I moved to a stand-up desk, I was shocked how much more I moved my body
hmm
than just sitting. I don't have the tension in my neck. I don't get into that weird like mouse
hmm
position that Tara is in, where you get that terrible tension on the, because you can't do that when you're standing up. I'd be way down here, right? I also invested in an Aura ring,
hmm
some type of tracker system, so that you can actually start learning how is your body performing internally based on your external, actions. A lot of times we think we're doing good, we think we're doing enough, but then when we actually see and calculate what we're doing, how many steps have we taken, how was our sleep, we
hmm
can start to really pinpoint, okay, why would that maybe have been off? Maybe I ate too late, so I went to bed with a full stomach. And then that obviously affects your digestion and your rest and recovery. So really start tuning in to the little things that you're doing and how they actually affect you. It's major. Yeah.
Can I jump in to say something about fitness?
Yes,
Andy,
please.
did you say anything about your fitness journey by chance?
Not yet.
I had a fire call on my flip that just came in. I really apologize, but I had to take it. So I apologize for going off camera. But Sandy has an amazing health transformation journey, and I had one about 5 years ago. But one of the things that I found that I can hack my way to, which is why I'm doing this challenge, is when I set a big target challenge in my fitness world. And for me, that started off with Spartan races. I was about 30 pounds more than I am today, over 200. And I was dared by somebody to do a Spartan race, and I was so scared. I was so intimidated, but I just, for some reason, I said yes. And that having that on the calendar in 4 months really pushed me to get out and do stuff. And so when you
Mm-hmm.
don't have this major pressure like of something coming, it's harder to get out the door. So if there's a way that you could put a challenge out there for yourself in the physical world, you're just more likely to hit it, right? Because you have other people watching you. And anyways, long story short, now I've done a dozen Spartan races since then, ultra marathons, all kinds of crazy stuff. And it just started with me being super scared and doing something very uncomfortable for my health and my fitness. And now it's become, kind of part of who I am. So just
So
want
much so that I do believe that we are signed up with VIA to do a Spartan in May, if
I
I'm not
did convince, yes, Via
mistaken. Yeah.
Williams to do a Spartan race in Washington this spring.
I'm
Yeah.
not a Spartan person, guys, but it is going to be on my 2026 to step up. So in order to prepare, I'm looking at the challenge, and those fitness elements to help me get ready. So I'm not like they're not carrying
I'll
me.
push you over. Don't worry.
They're not lifting me. My fitness journey just kind of came after the challenge. I'm gonna be honest. I worked really hard, and I was learning as I went when it came to a lot of this other part of just not working hard, and a lot of it didn't kick in until kind of after. And I was done the challenge, and Tom Ferry called me because this was a Tom Ferry challenge, and he said, "Okay, you've done almost an impossible. Like you've done something most people won't ever accomplish. What's next? Now that that's over, what's next? And I said, gosh, I don't know. He said, next, it's you. You are your challenge now. You need to get in shape, get optimal, get performing, sleep, all the things. And he challenged me then, now, if I can do that, now I have to do the next thing because to me it is the whole package. He said, what you've done is not sustainable if you don't fix the rest of the motor. You know what I mean? Like I'm the engine to what's going to keep that momentum in the business. And if I don't tune and fine tune and keep up with the maintenance and get it in peak performance, I will burn out and I will not be able to sustain the business and the growth that comes with it. And I think I cried. I'm not mistaken. I think I cried because I knew he was right. I knew he was right. And I knew this was probably going to be a harder journey than maybe the 100 listings because I had nowhere else to blame. You know, I could say, oh, it's the market, or nobody answered their phones, or people aren't selling. Like it was kind of easy to like slough off like maybe why the business wasn't working. But I realized I was the only one in complete control of me and everything that I did, what I thought, what I ate, how I showed up, like just how I took care of myself, like how I acted with other people, my attitude, like all the things. It all was in my control. And it was hard because, you know, we live in a world that doesn't do that. You know, we still we're enticed in all the food and the Starbucks and the sugar, like just all the things, right? Like we're just bombarded in one sense with all the, you know, not good for us stuff. And then we're kind of overwhelmed with all the try to get better for yourself fake stuff. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't actually work. You know, that's just the world, unfortunately, the world we live in. But it all had to come to that whole package. And I took my time and I didn't let anybody derail me. You know, there were moments where I went off, you know, but I didn't do anything that was going to be so crazy that it wasn't going to be, again, sustainable. And it took me a year. I think I lost about 40 pounds that next year. But since then, since that moment, I'm probably almost 60 pounds. I'm done. Like now I need to do something. I need to get a little, you know, structure and Spartan body now. But it takes time, you guys, and it takes consistent and it takes accountability. Again, I had him checking on me. How's it going? You know, how are things? Did you get your Aura ring? Shoot, didn't get more. Go order your Aura ring. Like I had to actually make that commitment with someone else, which is why I think part of how we're designing this whole program is to have this community and this commitment to help each other. You know, we've talked about that on other calls. Like to do it alone is is very difficult, but when you're doing it with people aligned with you, it's it's fun. It just makes it magical, you know.
Absolutely. Tia, did you have a question or a comment?
I didn't. Yeah, I just had a comment. I actually left the office so that I can come to the gym. So I'm at the gym now.
Hey,
But I realized,
She's on my team. She left work to go to the gym. She just told on herself.
You have a good boss.
yeah,
Have to do
I
that.
did. But listen, she's gonna appreciate this. So I feel like, the past couple of weeks I had slacked off. I would consider myself, my body was a weapon. But I started to slack off in the gym, and because my body became a liability, so did my mental health. And so I started to have mental health struggles. So I actually started back going to the gym yesterday, because I made the commitment to myself that, I want my body to be a weapon because I realized how bad my body gets when it is a liability. So that's why I left Sandy to come to the gym so that I can be a weapon and not a liability.
Amen.
I love it.
You're dismissed. You're dismissed from the office if that's
Yeah,
you're building
I love all
weapons.
these
Yeah.
stories. And so I'll give you mine briefly. Right. So in 2022, I ended up breaking my back and didn't know it for a while. Kept kind of doing jujitsu and stuff. Ended up getting it to a real issue to where in probably that was 2021, 2022, whatever. Um, got to a point where I probably put on 30 or 40 pounds because I couldn't move very well at all, continuing to eat like I was training, and lost all of the muscle that I had over about a year-long period. Got to a point where the doctor was like, look, your back's healed. You just got to go do something. Right. And so I'm looking at this and I talked with a friend of mine who was a bodybuilder. I said, give me one reason why I shouldn't take one round of steroids to build back muscle, because that clearly is the issue. The reason I bring this up is not because I took steroids, but what he said was, if you want to do that, go get your blood test done. Go
Mm.
see where your body is at. If you want to have a blood test, let me know. I'll give you a discount code for an online one that he gave me. Right? I don't make any money off of blood tests. Okay. But he gave me a discount code. And it came back, and I was able to look and see what's under the hood. And what I noticed was that my testosterone level was abysmally low, which led to, we need to fix that, which led to a decision I had to make, which was, do I want to sit on the couch and be in pain, or do I want to go to the gym and be in pain? Because my body was an absolute liability. I could not stand at a stand-up desk for more than 5 to 10 minutes at a time. It hurt to just be alive. And so one day I made a decision. It was May of 2023. I'm like, I'm going to hurt in the gym instead of hurting on the couch. And so over the next probably 4 months, with the help of testosterone replacement therapy, I put on probably 25 to 30 pounds of muscle. Put on more than I had lost initially. During that same time period, while my body went from being a liability to a weapon, that was the biggest single moment of business explosion in my career, as the market was exploding all around everybody else because interest rates shot up. So my body stopped limiting my ability to go to work, my ability to stand at a desk and make phone calls, right? So you notice that I'm standing right now. My energy is very different when I'm standing than when I'm sitting, right? When I'm talking to you guys, or if I'm on a Zoom call with a client, if I'm prospecting, if I'm talking to people, I'm standing, right? I couldn't do that before I made a commitment to the fitness, right? So with this, here's my challenge for you guys with the fitness part is treat yourself like an athlete. You might
Mm.
not be a professional athlete. You might not be, you might not consider yourself to be an athlete, but treat yourself like one. And what does that mean? It means that it starts with a morning routine, right? Everybody knows morning routine, right? It ends with an evening routine. Have that in place. Have one that works for you. What works for me and Danny, who both appear to be a little wonky because we get up at 4 in the morning, might not work for somebody else, right? But whatever that is. So here's the thing, right? Meditation, whatever that looks like, meditation or prayer, whatever that looks like to you, that goes right back to the first one, faith, right? We have move your body, go for a walk, go for a ride. Danny's a big cyclist, right? Danny gets out and he rides. He does that. He's out moving his body. Nutrition, right? You cannot out-train a shitty diet. I'm a living example of that. I've tried, it doesn't work. Even when you're doing Ironman, that does not work. All right. Um, Hydration. I know that when my mindset is when I come home from the office that I grab a bottle of water because my number one goal is I need to start rehydrating for tomorrow. Not doing it because I'm going to go perform on an athletic competition. But I know that if I start the recovery process for whatever the day was, there's also a mental side to that. Sleep is a very important thing. How many of you have young kids? I have young kids. Anybody else? Yeah, so sleep, like we do our best. That's a little disruptive, especially if you're a mom, a lot more than the dad. But here's the other part of this too, right? That blood test thing, right? There's men and women on here, obviously. Hormonal issues that lead to feeling run down, that lead to having no energy, that lead to why can't I keep weight off? Why can't I lose weight? Why am I moody? All hormonal,
Mhm.
right? I would highly encourage you guys to take a look under the hood and see what's going on. My mom made a very interesting statement when we were talking last. I think we were out visiting them in Phoenix because my wife is 44. I mean 29. Anyways, 44. And so she's starting to get into some of these issues. And so she went to the doctor and has gotten them all addressed. And all of a sudden it's like, whoop, you're no longer 44, you're like 30, right? Which is wonderful for everything in her life. And my mom made a comment. She said, when I was your age, which would have been somewhere in the 80s, right? The answer that women were given was, I'm really sorry, but you're going to have to figure that out. Sorry, it's just what happens to you. Men who had low testosterone were told, I'm really sorry, maybe you should go work out. That's not the case anymore, right? So I'm going to get off of that really small, awkward bandwagon. But I would encourage you, take a look under there, under the hood with the blood test. All right.
Yeah.
So
I
going
would say, can I like just tag
yes,
on that?
please. Yes, thank
One of
you.
the things you're going to find is sometimes the awkward conversations are the ones that we need to hear because they're awkward and nobody really wants to talk about them. So thank you for that, being vulnerable with that. I too started hormone replacement therapy a few years ago for a lot of similar reasons. I just was like, I'm just not me. Like something's just not right. I'm not that we're encouraging you to do that, but just pay attention to that. If you're struggling in some areas, again, your body, your fitness, your health can be tied to your performance with your family and work. So it's just one of those other pieces to pay attention to. And we're going to have these conversations in the challenge. We're going to be checking on you mentally, physically, and making sure that your whole human body is doing this challenge along with just your business. So it's a good point and weird, but
Yep.
I think we're a big family here and we all want the best for each other. So I think sometimes those honest conversations have to be had.
Yep. All right. So morning routine, evening routine, figure out what that is. We can have more conversations about that. The last thing I'm going to end with is fellowship, right? Fellowship is friends. It's man is not meant, and when I say man, that means just the human race is not meant to do life alone. We are not meant to, especially the actual men on here. You are absolutely not meant to do life alone. But what's the first thing that a man is usually going to do when they have a hard time? They're going to isolate. Women, thankfully, you guys congregate and you guys talk through all your stuff, and maybe that's why you guys tend to be a little healthier. I don't know. You guys live longer, so maybe that's a big part of it, right? But having people that you can have fellowship with. This can be your best friend from high school. This could be a friend from college. This could be someone that you met at the kids' school and you're both moms and you get to hang out and do whatever you guys do when you're dropping off and picking up kids, right? This could be a dude who, like, you got a guy who's a high school friend, a college friend, whatever it is, right? Have someone that you can really talk to, okay? This can also be having people that's an accountability group, right? This could be your accountability group. Could be an accountability group where you have just one or two other people. You can have multiple accountability groups, just don't become a junkie, right? They need to have a purpose, right? A purpose of accountability group isn't to have an accountability group, it's to actually be held accountable. So there are um, three different types of people that you need in your life. You need to have a mentor. You need to have someone that's a peer, someone you're doing life with. And you need to have a mentee.
Mm.
Right? Those of you that like the Bible, that'll be a Barnabas, a Silas, and a Timothy. Right? So you need to have a mentor. Why? Because we don't know anything. Danny, do you have a coach? Is anyone mentoring you?
Yeah.
Sandy?
Like 8 people.
Me too. Okay. In every single one of these spheres that we just talked about, faith, family, finance, fitness, and fellowship, I have a mentor in every single one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I also have a lot of people that I do life with. Right? I get to do this challenge with Danny and Sandy. But I have all kinds of people that I'm doing faith, family, fitness, finance, fellowship with. Right? I also have people that I'm pouring into in all of these different aspects. Right? As we stand here right now, I'm pouring into you guys. Right? I also have people, my family, I have friends at church. I have all kinds of different people that I'm mentoring, I'm discipling, whatever that is. Right? So take an inventory on your own. Do you have a mentor? Right? In business, if you have a book that's a great book, that's someone who knows what they're talking about, and you're getting out of that book, like, I can live with that answer as I'm being mentored by Jim Collins because he wrote a bunch of good books. Right? Like, I'm okay with that. I would tell you it's better having somebody in person and that they know that they're actually mentoring you. right? Like a good question would be like, does that person know they're mentoring you, right? Having people to do life with, and then having people to pour into. Very, very important. And all of these, can you guys see how they're all interrelated?
Hmm.
You see that? All right, so it's an interplay, and all of it's seasonal, right? There's going to be times where faith is really high, and there's going to be times where faith is not very high. And if you have people that are pouring into you and you have friends, you can borrow their faith. If you have people that you're pouring into and they're in the valley, you can pour into them, they can borrow your faith. Right? It's the same thing with all the others. So that's what I got. Let's see if Sandy or Danny have anything to add to that, but I'm going to turn it over to Sandy.
I agree with you. I agree with you on all that. For real. Like I love being a mentor, um, because it helps me become a better person. Like when you can impart your gifts and you can help someone else learn something and develop something in themselves, you become better at it yourself. So it's kind of like, in order to teach people about reverse prospecting, like I had to actually learn it to the extent that I knew that I knew it more than the people I was teaching it to. And that's really fun when we're in this business because we all know things other people don't. We have this very easy opportunity to pour into each other. And there's something that like lights you up when that happens. Um, it's kind of your cup, like you need to be filled, but once the cup is full, you have to start pouring it out so you can take more. So, we all have to kind of stay. I love that. I love that concept. That's a great concept. I'm going to take that today and make sure that I'm receiving and giving equally.
Mm-hmm. That's
One
good.
of the big things that I think we touched on today that I just want to reiterate and make sure we're very clear on it, like you can only grow like your business to the extent that you grow yourself,
Hmm.
right? It's such a true statement. And until you've actually realized it, it's really hard to understand. But learning is such a huge part of this, and your health is such a huge part of this. And even if it weren't true, even if for some reason you got lucky and you made $1 million next year, but you didn't fix yourself, you'd look back and you'd say, that wasn't worth it.
Hmm.
So I would just really, put it into your soul that part of this journey is becoming the better version of you, right? When
Hmm.
you become the better version of you, you can do so much more.
Yeah.
And so you have to fight for that, and you got to fight for it daily. And I think that's what Ryan has touched on here today.
Yeah. Love it. Any comments, feedback from anybody? Anybody have any shares? We like to make sure y'all have a voice here too. Yeah, lots of things to take away this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Well,
kind of
Sandy,
yeah,
why don't you tell us a little, you got to share or no?
chair.
Never mind. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the challenge while we're wrapping
Oh,
up?
yeah.
Like,
I thought you
there you
said I
go.
have a
One step
chair. I'm
ahead of
like,
me, dang it.
step ahead of you.
Every
Yeah,
time.
yeah. I don't mind. I was ready. I had it pre-typed in the chat
There we
ready.
go.
So those of you who have joined, there's a little bit more insight to some of the experiences you're going to have. So we're excited that you're going to be with us through your health and mental health and fitness journeys as well. For those of you who haven't quite joined the challenge, this is just a slice of what we're going to be contributing to you over the next 10 months, starting in January. This is a 10-month, I call it not a challenge. It is a challenge because 10 months is a long time. Anybody can do anything for a week, but to hang on to something for 10 months is challenging. Challenging to do that, challenging ourselves to be better in all areas of our life. Challenging to do more listings because we all know leverage is in the listings. And I do believe listening to a lot of the AI stuff, the Zillow stuff, Jimmy Mackin's Beacon, like a lot of things coming out, they're very buyer centric. They're very like to help the buyer find the information. Where I find being a really good listing agent beyond what people are going to be able to find online on their own is going to even just become more and more necessary and more powerful, as we get into the future of real estate. So that's what we're focusing on is every month will be a different lead pillar. We're still working on the order of them. We have a lot of sponsors. We have a lot of product. We have a lot of master guest speakers that we're trying to line up calendars with the right topics at the right time. And so we'll be, letting that go a little bit closer to the start date of January 1. But that's kind of what you're going to get. You're going to get every month as a different pillar. We're going to go through how to build a completely functional SOP process for you from scripts to marketing materials to your own SOP course. There's going to be a 30-day course that I've designed on each lead pillar that I'll be directing you through little daily tasks to help build these out for your business. We're going to be talking health, wellness. We're going to be keeping KPI metrics. We're going to have some rewards and surprises and leaderboards and all kinds of different areas throughout the whole challenge. So it keeps it fun and fresh and changing it up every month, right? Because we don't want to get bored of it. And it'll be really kind of fun and aligned with the pillar that we're on to kind of like help spice up your energy. And it's a 10-month journey where we're going to be together. Those of you who sign up, we have an accountability, not accountability platform. Yeah. For your KPI, Sisu is our product sponsor for that, where all of our metrics and counts of everything are going to be housed, our leaderboards. Then we also have a community portal. A lot of you are in already, sharing your whys, getting involved with each other, getting to know each other. And that's just kind of like, think of it as like a private Facebook group. That's where all the information is going to live inside of this community. Recordings from videos, downloadable script books, your courses, everything, the calendar is all going to live inside of a portal. So basically those are the two really easy. We're also going to make sure you're very well trained on all of those, so you can hit the ground running. I will say the sooner you sign up, the more access you're going to have to these additional coaching pieces are kind of our roadmap to get you ready to pull the trigger on January 1 and start getting listings. We don't want you to kind of have to use January to like figure out, how it all works. So that's why we're really encouraging you guys to kind of get it in a little bit sooner than later. That's super fun. So the link is up there. Jump in. It's super affordable. And I've actually had a few messages today because I just did a big video about the challenge on my social. So I've had a few people actually messaging me. If it's something that's a money issue, we have an opportunity for you to become an affiliate. And you can actually, before you even join, become an affiliate, get your friends to join. You get $99 per person who joins. So you could potentially get 10 of your friends to sign up, say, hey, let's do this together. Let's hold each other accountable, right? You get them to sign up with your link, and then you basically are in the challenge for free. Okay. So that's just kind of a little perk because I know we've had some people, it's been a tough year for people. So we want to help out in that. Robin, I think I messaged you in a different platform, but right now this will be the time of those calls. We're going to just kind of keep this cadence going. The master speaker uh, the master speaker calls will have to be, we're hoping to be a little bit patterned as well. But again, we've got some very big heavy hitters who have very busy calendars. We're going to get them when they're available to us, but we're going to try to keep them in a similar time of the month so everybody can kind of predict that. So those will be a little bit less perfect in a calendar, but it's important that they're in here supporting us and speaking to everybody. So
And if you're signed up, get on the platform and contribute because we can talk a lot there. High accountability in that on that platform too. I'm trying to contribute as much as I can there to keep you guys, you know, engaged
yeah.
with your businesses.
Yeah, and then we're rolling out, like once you register, you're going to start getting rollout emails of like how to clean up your CRM, like a lot of prep work for January 1. So we don't if you don't want to be as bombarded towards the end of the year or come January, early January when it starts, but we will be cutting off the registrations on December 31st. So get in there while you can. If you register, you will automatically become an affiliate. So you will get a follow-up email that gives you all of those steps. So it should be pretty easy. Yeah. Any questions? Anybody have any questions? We're good. We're just
I need to
perfect
go
on time.
prospect. I need to go prospect.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yep. All
So
right.
take your energy with you, and if you need the link additionally, it's all over our social medias. Just find me or one of us coaches, and you'll see links to everything everywhere. So super easy to find. So thank you all for showing up, and we will be having a call next week because it's a couple days still before Thanksgiving. So I believe we do have a call next week. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Perfect. So, yes.
I'm sorry, Sandy, I had a quick question before we get off. I do want to go ahead and sign up. But is there an opportunity for me if I just send out that link to get that money back? Because I do like that incentive. So,
Yes, ma'am. So once you sign up, you'll automatically be registered as an affiliate. You'll get an email that says, "Congrats, you're an affiliate. Here's your link." And you just can start sharing it out.
okay, so I can just sign up anyway, and then I would just get reimbursed as people.
Absolutely. Yep. We'll have like a monthly payout type of thing. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And if you guys struggle with any content, I can see on the back end, there are a lot of you are like in a lot of registrants like already sharing their links because I can see the clicks that are going through on the back end. If you need any type of assets or graphics or something, just message it. We're free to give you all of that. I think in the community, I actually have a assets tab. So anything, you can just pull anything from inside of that community that we've provided to you to use to help tell your story and share your links. So yeah, but you can reach out to us personally anytime as well. Yeah. All right, everybody.
All
Have
right,
a fabulous week. Next week's my birthday. Is next Tuesday the 25th? It's my birthday.
Well, happy early
We're gonna
birthday.
have this call on my birthday, so I expect everyone to practice. Happy birthdays.
All
No.
right,
Awesome.
everybody.
All right. Love you
See
guys.
you
I'll
guys
see you
next
next
week.
week.